Hi, I'm Joe Hupcey, and I'm here with Steve Geisler, a member of the Questa Formal GUI development team. So Steve, maybe introduce yourself, then we'll talk about your work.
Sure. I've been working in EDA since I got out of school, since 1986, and I've spent 3 years in a logic synthesis company. Got bought by Mentor Graphics and then went on to work for a number of tools for them. I've worked on logic synthesis for them. I've worked on wire harness, worked in equivalence checkers, but like 20 some of those years I've been working on some part of a UI, or, whether it's the front of the UI or the inside of the UI. And I've had experience with X Windows, with Tickle TK, with Qt now, and in the past with Java, Microsoft. So yeah, it's been around the block.
Wow, that's a broad range of experience. So let me ask you the first question that I think some of our users have is, can you tell us about the transition from Tickle TK to Qt? What are some of the motivations there? What are some of the challenges there?
Sure. Well, Tickle TK had its day in the sun, and I think the day ended. And so I think it's time to move on. I mean, Tickle had a lot of advantages. It's a scripting language. It gave people a lot of flexibility to prototype things really quickly. You didn't have to compile or any kind of restrictions on things like that. But it had a lot of quality problems. You weren't really sure if things worked until someone explored all the paths of the code. And a lot of times the performance wasn't there. So you ended up doing a lot of stuff down inside C or C++, and then just really using the Tickle TK layer for just the dialogues and things like that. With Qt, you have a different way of doing things. I mean, it's actually object-oriented, where Tickle, you had to always kind of wrap that in somehow. And it's a comprehensive UI toolkit. It's got a great set of libraries. It's got access with Python, so you've got that kind of scripting capability. There's just a lot more power there. There's a bigger user community. And just, it's more of today's kind of a UI toolkit, whereas TK is sort of, like I said, the sun's gone down.
Fair enough. Now, given your broad background and all the different tool changes that you had mentioned earlier, I'm curious your insight on how formal, designing a GUI for a formal-based workflow is different from, say, a simulation-based workflow.
Sure. Well, most actually the tools I've worked on in the past have been design entry, design creation kind of tools. So they were always sort of, driven by the user and what they're up to that day. With formal, you're telling them something's wrong with their design, and you're trying to take them back in time without the DeLorean. And so somehow you've got to get them back to the point where the problem actually started so they can fix the problem. That's kind of hard to do, and we found the best way to do that is to really keep the formal engines active. And so with the current architecture we have, we start with the powerful visualizer debug environment. We have the entire Qt GUI toolkit there available for us to enhance that. And we've got the formal engines live that we're able to get the information to be able to present to people, as we roll back and try to show them where the problem is. So I think it's a great architecture to go forward with because it's scalable.
Fantastic. Well, Steve, thanks for sharing your insights.
You bet. Thanks.
Cheers.
Cheers.